Welcome to WellFem Mornings with Stacy. This is my rebrand redo, and it's going to be all about something that is very near and dear to my heart, something that I have been speaking about incessantly over on TikTok, but have decided to bring it over to a couple other platforms to reach more of you, and that is perimenopause. And I'm going to cover other things like premenopause and menopause and postmenopause eventually. But for now, I'm going to speak to what is near and dear to my heart, which is everything that I went through in premenopause before I knew there was such a thing. And now perimenopause, which is what I'm living every single day, and have learned that I have been living in perimenopause since probably my early 30s when I was being put on a halter monitor for heart palpitations. And I'm now 47. The things that we were not taught, we were not told. God love our families and the women that have come before us. But the theme that I keep seeing is that I'm not alone and that nobody prepared me. Nobody talked about it. Did I notice that my grandmas were experiencing changes? Yeah, I sure did. But nobody talked about it. It might have been called the change. I'm sure some of you have heard it. And other things. And I knew about hot flashes, sort of. I knew there was a thing called hot flashes. What I didn't know was all the other things. Oh yeah, by the way, 82 symptoms, and that's where I stopped counting. 82 symptoms of perimenopause. How did I come to 82 symptoms? Well, I pulled out five leading books about perimenopause and I cross referenced everything, and there were 82 different symptoms that are perimenopause, which is still shocking for me to say. But when you start looking at the body and you start understanding the body, you realize, yeah, there's going to be at least that many because we have receptors for hormones all over our bodies. And hormones affect quite literally everything we do. And we have hormone receptors on our brain, which affect our mental health. And so many things that we'll go to the doctor for, about, with right now are absolutely one plus one equals perimenopause, but doctors aren't trained in it. I think it's something like 4 hours. I hope I get this correct. 4 hours is what the average medical professional doctor gets in education on perimenopause. Um, or it's 1 hour for the regular doctor and four for obstetrics and gynecology. However, you want to look at it, it's paltry at best, it's disappointing at best. People are not prepared to go to their doctor and be laughed at, looked at like they were crazy, dismissed, not allowed to run labs, told that, oh, you're too young for that, which is what I got in my 30s. They would put me on these halter monitors because it felt like my heart was a fish on the side of a bank of water that it wanted to get back in the water. It was just like flopping. And I thought I was going to die. I had two little kids. I thought I was going to die. No, no. Now at 47, we know that it's perimenopause. That is one of many symptoms of perimenopause. So, my goal in being on this channel is to help you feel seen, help you feel like you're not crazy, um, give you tips, tricks, and tools to not feel alone, to approach your doctor, your nurse practitioner, your whatever, whomever, with data and science and knowledge and help educate them. And if they don't want to be educated, then I want to empower you to walk the fuck out. I cannot tell you how many doctors I walked out on. I cannot tell you how long I went without medical care because I was so frustrated. When I would go in and complain of pain down here in my uterus parts, and they would say, oh, that must be your stomach. No, bitch. No, my stomach's here. My uterus is down low. I know my body parts. And what is probably the most disappointing is when you have a female practitioner and she is uneducated, especially the older women, female doctors, who don't have the education. And I don't want to shame them. I want to partner with them. I want them to feel empowered, to be educated. I know that our medical system here in the US is disappointing at best. Um, but we need to rise to the occasion. Women are 51% of the population. There's a lot of us who are going to start going through premenopause into perimenopause, moving into menopause, which is literally one day of your reality, and then moving into postmenopause. We need to be supported. And so right now that support oftentimes comes in places like this. I am on TikTok, but I want to reach more of us and start talking about our experiences. And one other thing that I realized is we were a generation of kids who didn't talk about our periods. Often we were handed a box of pads and we're like, have fun, here you go. I hid my period from my mother for the better part of 6 months because I had so much guilt and shame attached to it because I was also going to Catholic school. And yeah, there was that guilt. And surely I did something wrong. Like, because you know what kind of conversation my family had with me about that? It was the birds and the fucking bees. And if I'm honest, I was almost 47 years old before I finally understood why the fuck it was ever considered the birds and the bees to talk about sex. I mean, is it any wonder? Anyway, to start having the conversations, to heal ourselves from our inability to ask questions and to be educated and to be taught correctly about our bodies. You know what I saw yesterday? Now, I didn't go fact check this, but the male penis was diagrammed a long time ago. Looked at, examined, drawn, understood the mechanics of the penis. You know, when the female anatomy got that treatment? 2026. Disappointing. So, I'm on here to talk to you about everything that I have learned, everything that I am learning, how to navigate perimenopause through conversations, through mental health, through support with girlfriends, through books, like any way that we can empower ourselves to learn our bodies better, to understand what's going on, and move forward in our lives. So, I am 1 3/4 of the way deep into 2 master's degrees, one in sport and health science. I've been a personal trainer for the better part of 15 years. And my second master's is in holistic nutrition. I have more certifications for wellness, instruction, etc. I've studied food and nutrition and how it affects the body because I was left with no option when I was laughed at and not taken seriously by all the doctor's offices that I had gone to between early 30s and now. Quite frankly, I quit going to the doctor because I was tired of being ignored or asked if I was depressed. I was so tired of being offered depression medication. Can you relate to that? Like, so tired. Like, they led with it. Ugh. Ugh. Anyway, so I'm on here. I will tell you my story. I want to get your stories out here. I want to start having the conversation about how to navigate our lives, how to use things like exercise and not killing yourself, not CrossFit style, unless that's your jam, because it used to be my jam. Former powerlifter, MMA fighter here, but a different kind of movement to help our bodies move through perimenopause, which is just a phase. How to support our bodies with food and nutrition, what we need now in this phase, how to support ourselves that way, supplementation, what supplements there are, how they can help, what ones to potentially avoid, how to find true third party tested supplementation, HRT, BHRT, how to get that, where to find it, how to find a doctor or a nurse practitioner that will talk to you about that In a passion project that has become mine, I've become my own guinea pig. August of last year, August of 2025, before I found a practitioner who would treat me, I started down the rabbit hole of peptides and became a peptide guinea pig. And I can assure you that that has drastically affected my symptoms in perimenopause. And I will probably never, ever, ever not take peptides. And I don't just mean the GLP-1s or the GLP-2s or the GLP-3s, which I do have a love for and understand their value and use a GLP-3. But I'm talking about all the other ones because I think we need to understand and know and learn. First of all, the fear of the FDA approval. There's a lot of things you consume every day that don't have FDA approval, and understanding how they affect us, how we are a body of peptides, how we naturally produce peptides in our own body, and how those can fluctuate as we age, as we move through perimenopause, as we move through traumatic life events, stress, how our cortisol is affected, how to navigate that by blending everything into a special magic carpet just for you. And also including practitioners if that is the route you want to go. Also, looking at things like herbals, herbal medicine. How can any of that affect us? What is good? What is potentially not so good? Etc. Including things like meditation, mindfulness, breath work, all the things that are really quick to fly out of my brain when shit hits the fan. And let me tell you, this past week has been insane for me. I have been on a hormonal roller coaster from hell. And I'm tired of feeling alone. I'm tired of not talking about it. I'm tired of not having the people to talk to about it who want to hear about it because I still think there is some shame and some stigma around it. So I said, let's just get back on long form content platforms and start talking about it. So if this is something that speaks to you, please share this with somebody who you think it might benefit, follow along, comment, ask the questions. I want all your questions. I want to be able to address everything. And if I don't know it, I'm going to find the person who does. There's a lot of things I don't know. I know some things, there's a lot I don't know. I will be helping you find resources, books, studies, clinics, etc., etc., etc. So, long story short, I'm glad you're here. Please follow along, give me your questions, and let's change our lives. Let's walk through perimenopause, holding hands, supporting each other. Let's do it.